How would you race the Titanic if you had to?
Chopsticks.
The movie came out like 29 days after the sinking, which is
that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, okay. That's insane.
The person who I want on the Titanic musical, obviously Rachel Zegler. I would do to the theater what happened to Abraham Lincoln. I would Tommy Lee Jones that theater.
Yeah.
No, it's not Tommy Lee Jones. What is it? Tommy Lee Roth?
John Wilkes Booth?
John Wilkes.
This is a White Star Line prepaid call from
Iceberg, right ahead!
It's been over 100 years since the Titanic sunk into the North Atlantic Ocean.
It's a pretty open and shut case. The ship hit an iceberg, case closed.
But what aren't they telling us? What if two comedians tried to solve what really happened?
This is Truthtanic.
Ahoy!
Welcome back to Truthtanic.
Yes, this is the comedy podcast where we aim to uncover what really happened
the night the Titanic sank.
I'm Carley.
I'm Blair.
We're joined by another special guest.
A special guest, Mr. Tim.
Mr. Tim Blair.
Hey, it's me, Tim Blair. Good to be here.
Great.
Welcome, Tim.
Tim is a friend and comedian, and you can... give your credits.
Yeah.
What have you done?
I produced and wrote a sketch show on CBC called Tall Boys for 3 seasons.
Okay.
I do a bunch of stand-up and some improv and a bit of everything. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Great.
Tim did a dog commercial recently.
Oh,
Did you
yes,
really?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Picking up some dog crap on a fake set. Yeah.
It looked really cool.
How many times did you have to pick up the shit?
A few times. And
Is it real?
It was not real,
Okay.
but it was lifelike.
Was it warm?
Under the heat studio lights,
Yeah,
it was
That's
quite
cool.
warm.
That's cool that they'd warm it for you to be nice, but like unintentionally make it way worse.
Yeah.
Way more like shit.
Actually
Yeah.
warm fake shit.
And the director kept on giving me the note. It's a little behind the scenes info that
Oh.
I was aroused by the shit I was picking up on. And yeah.
Wait, like you were aroused by the shit, or he wanted you to be more aroused by the shit?
He wanted me to be increasingly more aroused.
Oh,
And then,
okay. That's
and then I became,
awesome.
I'm a method actor. So.
Exactly. Once those brain pathways are there, you can't.
Yeah.
No, now you're working through it.
That's why I'm like, I never ever want to see feet bare because I'm worried that it'll catch me off guard.
Yeah.
Like I'm worried that like something will happen where I'll be like watching porn, sorry.
Yeah.
And then somebody will send me a picture of their feet.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then like the pathway
like
will
we're
be
done.
connected and
Yeah.
it's too late.
No, we're done.
Not to
It's
kink
over.
shame our feet fetish.
No, I'm like I make associations with everything in the way that
Yes.
like I've ruined like when both my parents have had bed bugs. Sorry, mom and dad for putting you on blast.
Yeah.
But like in different years, totally like different cities had bed bugs, and all I associate is like the smell of lavender. So whenever people are just like, "Do you want like a relaxing lavender soap?" I'm like, "No, it's full of bed bugs. It's full of bugs, and they're gonna eat me."
Yeah.
No, it's awful shit like that. Also, I found myself defending Quentin Tarantino's use of feet. I think like after recording this a few weeks ago, being like, the feet is actually not there. He's not even there that much. The feet are actually not that bad. And I'm like,
You're
who
just
am I-
into the feet.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
no,
I
do I
did.
just
You're
like
good.
the feet in
No,
Quentin
the
Tarantino
feet
movies?
are really, really good.
Yeah, the feet are actually maybe, now I think about it, probably my favorite part of his
It's art. Well, it's
discography.
art.
Oh, yeah.
It's art.
Filmography, yeah.
Yeah.
It's art, arm, leg, foot.
You don't have to laugh at that.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah,
You don't have to do that.
That wasn't good.
So Tim, what's your relationship with the Titanic?
Yeah, pretty standard. I think I've never seen the Titanic movie.
Okay.
The only the first Titanic content I saw was the thumb-tanic, which is a 10-minute retelling of the Titanic starring thumbs.
That's
On
awesome.
YouTube, I'm assuming.
It was honestly, I think they bought it from Blockbuster. I think it was a rental at the time.
It's like a movie.
There's a whole series of movies done by
Steve Odenkirk.
Yeah, Steve Odenkirk, who did
whoa.
he wrote Bruce Almighty and like I think he did Jimmy Neutron.
Oh my god.
A weird and Kung Pao, not related to Bob Odenkirk, but he just did a bunch of parodies of movies with thumbs, and he just like Photoshop his face onto thumbs or people's faces.
And then the Titanic with thumbs.
Yeah, and
Wow.
it was still moving. Watching thumbs do it go
Did you
down.
cry?
For sure. Yeah.
Wow. How old were you?
I had to be in like 12 or
Okay.
11.
That
It
would
was like
be
a
the age
sleepover.
that you watch
A
like
thumb.
a thumb movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
Whoa. Wow.
This is the kind of thing where okay, it's not that. But there used to be, people would also do the thing where they would turn their head upside down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And make like your mouth, like your chin has
Definitely
your eyes.
that vibe.
3.1 on Letterboxd.
That's not that bad.
That's actually not bad.
Not at all.
That's
Okay.
and
That's
I'm so
good.
glad you brought that up too, because today's episode is about pop culture.
Yes.
Pop culture surrounding
And what
the
is
Titanic.
thumb movies if not?
Pop culture.
Yeah.
And it's so like, I feel like stuff like
Thumb-tanic
that
for the
is
Oscar.
from an era of like just trolling that people don't do anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like it's such a voice of a generation.
Yeah. I always think of, and obviously it's a little different, but like something like Harry Potter Puppet Pals doesn't really feel like it could exist in today's, like, people take YouTube too seriously. Like production companies make kids content on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what happened to just like a freak
Yeah.
making puppet-based content in their basement? Like, I was obsessed with growing up. It was a show. It was like a YouTube kind of thing that was called The Most Popular Girls in School.
Oh my God.
Yes. And it was like,
Ashley Cacciatorian, you were supposed to be watching the door, and now a girl lost her arms.
it was like that kind of humor of like kind of like random.
Oh my God.
But it was a
it's so
stop
good.
motion Barbie thing, and it was about little vignettes or like kind of
Have you
sketches
seen this?
almost.
No, I haven't.
Okay. And it's
Your
just there
life
in
is
high
about to get
school.
Okay, yeah.
But she like goes, this girl gets her arms torn off, and then she goes to prom, and she's like, I lost 27 pounds. She's like, oh my God, how'd you do it? My arms got ripped off.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. It's like very like quotable, but it was just like that can't exist now.
No.
Because they would make it too good. Like the Barbies look bad. Like the Barbies have like a rat's nest on their head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
That's the
they look
problem with
terrible.
AI, I feel like, is
That's
the
the
charm
problem.
of bad content. Like,
Yeah.
I think something similar. I used to watch them on YouTube. I think the channel's like somebody literally random was in the title, but it was a guy just playing with like action figures,
Mhm.
telling
Yeah.
a long form story of like Wolverine and Deadpool hanging out or
Yeah.
something. But it's just him moving it. But now you can just type the prompt into a computer.
Yeah.
You can have a Pixar film made.
Yes, that's
I want to
not
see
fun.
crap.
No, I want to see
That's
like
true.
something that should be private.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was also it's not called Homestar Runner, but what's it
Oh,
called?
yeah.
Homes. And they had like I'd never watched this, but Reese watched it and he showed it to me. And it's like there was a it's kind of like a web series thing that was called Homestar Runner, but they used to watch a web series in the web series as well, and they made that like just weird shit like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, there was
Trogdor
also
and
one that was like
Teen Girl Squad.
Teen Girl Squad. Yeah, because he was like,
Yeah.
you would like this. Yes,
That's
this is
great.
kind of on the same tangent, but a little different. I recently rewatched Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh, nice.
that
Perfect
movie,
movie.
that movie is crazy. Like it's got like 9 famous scenes. And I was talking to somebody and I was like, this movie is good because I like it. And every single woman in this movie is basically there to be like fucked or get like a knife in the head. Like that's all it is. And I'm like, it's still funny as fuck.
I went and looked up some of the women who like were in Monty Python though, and they were low-key cool as fuck.
Really?
Like they were doing like cool comedy shit like
Yeah.
before women were like in
allowed.
and like allowed to do it. And so it's like we look at it now and it's like, oh, bummer. It's like that was so iconic. Like with that woman, I forget her name, but the woman who like leads him into that like
Yes.
brothel of
Yeah.
just like, you can fuck us all. It's like,
Yeah.
that's so funny. I'm sorry.
I know.
Like, is it questionable? Yes,
Absolutely.
for sure.
But that's why it's funny.
But like,
Yeah.
have you seen Monty Python now for something completely different?
No.
Oh, it's just like a compilation of their sketches. But have you
Okay.
seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. But the woman who goes, he was only 48. It's funny.
Yeah.
I'm just defending the women of Monty Python. No, but Monty
No, I
Python, the Holy Grail is
yeah.
crazy too. Because like every time I watch it, I like forget that like
It's good.
that like, and like the stuff that's in it is in it. I'm like, oh fuck, this is all in the same movie.
Yeah, and I find
Yeah.
sometimes watching like older comedy, I'm like, if I was a comedian in the 70s, like I could clean up because like nobody had like it, because a lot of stuff doesn't necessarily like stand. Like you watch like a lot of first season SNL and you're like, this is fine, but it's not
Yeah.
great. But like that, you're like, oh, this is good. Like this would be good now. This would be
So
Yeah.
holds
good.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember once I showed it to my friend, like in university, we played it just like for like a movie night or whatever. And she was so stoned. She just got like absolutely obliterated. And she didn't want to watch the movie. And she was being like, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to put it on. And then it started playing and she kept turning around being like, no one told me this was good. Like, what? I thought this was bad. And it's like, no, sir, it's good.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Is the bunny's name Tim? The rabbit's name Tim? I remember there's a Tim in that movie. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
big for me. I got to hold on to my Tims.
Yeah, you gotta
That's
hold on to your Tims when you
representation.
get it. I feel like now you're gonna get more Tims because of Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah. Do you identify with that name being your name, even though
Oh,
it's spelled
absolutely.
differently?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
I got to take every Tim
Yeah,
I can
take the
get.
Tims.
And he's
Yeah.
a big Tim.
He's
Yeah,
a big
hot
Tim. Do you think people call him Tim?
Timmy Tim,
Tim,
his
Timmy
old rap
Tim,
name.
yeah.
Yeah. Which is the lamest rap name of all time. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim.
I feel the same way about my name because there are so few Blairs, but now like Blairs were either like old Scottish men, but now they're all children because they're named after
Blair
Gossip Girl.
Waldorf.
yeah.
They're named after Blair Waldorf. And so it's like I'll meet babies all the time that are Blair. And I'm like, you don't leave me alone.
I'm
Don't come
Blair.
for me.
Was Blair Waldorf big for you?
Oh, that was huge.
Yeah.
When I heard there was a Blair, I was like, I gotta read every Gossip Girl novel. I read
And
them
their
all.
novels.
I watched their novels.
I just remember I watched the first season in the pandemic, and I just remember when Dan, who was like a 16-year-old in high school at the time, got a short story published in the New Yorker. And he was like, I can't get into any good English writing program. And I was like, any child who got published in the New Yorker could go anywhere.
No, Gossip Girl's the best TV show in the world. I will stand by this.
I
It is
watched
insane.
I watched recently like the new one. And then the new one is so
Oh, yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
It's really, really bad, but it's kind of awesome because of it. It's just like every single character is Polly, basically.
I never really watched Gossip Girl, but I do remember watching Degrassi
Oh yeah.
when it got influenced when Gossip Girl was on. So they added that rich family, and they were like a big part of the show. So I feel like I get the gist.
Yes. I know that's the really horrifying thing about living in Toronto is like you'll see somebody who's an adult and you're like, you were a child on Degrassi.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
I saw you try drugs for the first
Yeah,
time.
you died in the bus crash. That was big. That was at the end of the one of the seasons. There was a big bus crash.
Yeah.
Somebody was in a wheelchair because of it.
Drake.
No. Drake
Oh.
got shot by a school shooter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I never watched Degrassi, but there were a bunch of kids in my high school who were on Degrassi, and I never really understood when people were like, "Oh, yeah, they're on Degrassi." I was like, "Oh, what's that?" Like, I thought it was like CP24. I guess every TV show,
Yeah, it was
CP24.
CP24. Yeah.
So,
Should we talk about the Titanic?
yeah, let's get into the
Okay.
frickin' Titanic.
Yes. And I should say that we're going to do a full episode on James Cameron's The Titanic.
Yes.
nice.
After
Um,
much consideration,
Just about because there's so many crazy things that happened when it was being like shot, like it was super over budget and everyone got dosed with mushrooms and stuff.
yeah, and then it was all like in a pool.
PCP.
Yeah.
It was PCP. I don't even know what's PCP.
It's
Pixie dust.
Is it pixie dust?
That's what I think. That's the street name for it.
Pixie dust.
Okay.
I know what to order now.
yeah, I'll have pixie dust,
I'll have
please.
some pixie dust, please. Yeah, so the Titanic, I feel like it just has so much pop culture, and it's really interesting to see how much it has like truly permeated the last 110 years with the way that like stuff has always just come up with the Titanic.
Yeah, it is weird. Like even when they found the wreck in the 80s, it's like it created a spike to keep it relevant for like longer.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, and we went over this in the last episode too when we were talking about like the discovery of the wreck, but like truly it was like Titanic pandemonium in the 90s. Like people were
I feel like
obsessed
we're
with it.
overdue for that. We need another we need a discovery.
Oh,
We
yeah.
really do.
I think people are really trying to grasp at straws with the whole aliens thing. Like they really, because we're thirsty for something like that.
But everyone's just over it.
Did you see those fake alien corpses that they showed
In Mexico, that was fantastic.
Have you seen this?
They're just a bunch of like animal bones glued together.
I saw those and they were showing them like on the news. It was playing in the Second City lobby. I was like,
Yeah.
what is going on? Like this? It's crazy. Can I see it?
It was. I remember.
yeah, I did see
when
this.
it popped up. I saw like a tweet about it, and at first, like my heart dropped. I'm like, "What? They've got alien bodies?" And then you see them.
And you're like, no,
Yeah.
never mind. It's paper
No.
mache.
Yeah, that's never been alive.
I know. I remember somebody explaining it to me because they were like they showed this. It was at the Mexican Senate. They like somebody was giving like a testimony about extraterrestrials and showed that. And they're like, they showed this, and I was like, it's not real, is it? And they're like, no. And I was like, so it's a joke?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's not a joke. It's just insanity.
Well, it's also like, I'm sorry, but if you have the technology to get to Earth, like, you're not going to leave your dead bodies just littered around a field in Mexico. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to back up.
Yeah. It's also like, we really are like, they're like us, but green.
Yeah.
Like, we can't fathom. Also, I think we should not, I don't know. Do you believe in aliens?
No, but I wish they were real.
I feel like
I
if they
follow UFO
came-
stuff, but I don't think it's true.
I just think it would be so bad if they were real. Like people are like, "Oh, it'd be cool." I'm like, "We're done."
Oh, absolutely.
We're fucking- we're done.
We're
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
I know. As soon as things get interplanetary, it's not going to be good. That's why I'm like hoping we find like cute little aliens that are like little like hedgehogs or something,
Yeah.
like on another planet, and like
Yeah.
you can pay like $10,000, get one as a pet,
Yeah.
dies immediately.
Kind of like that
I'm
Club
like-
Penguin puffle.
Yeah, exactly. Like I hope we club penguin outer space.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where it's just like what the fuck could go wrong with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. If you're a gay teen, you tell a woman a girl online that you're a boy and you have a Club Penguin girlfriend. You try to tip the iceberg.
Trying to tip the iceberg. That's crazy. I forgot about that when all the penguins ran to one side of Club
The
Penguin.
iceberg. And you always had one
Do you
friend that was
remember
like,
No,
Okay.
this is a big moment.
Oh yeah.
they have the iceberg and there was like a rumor. I don't feel like it's true. But
Yeah,
maybe
I don't feel like there's no physics in that
No,
game.
they do not have
And
the
if you all
technology.
go to one side of the iceberg, it's supposed to flip. And you'd always have some fucking liar in your class who was like, "No,
Yeah.
I was on the server last night and it flipped. No, I saw it. It flipped."
Like I flipped it. Wait, just like no, you didn't.
I love liar kids. I really
Yeah.
do.
Oh, I hated them because I'm such a believer in everything.
Yes,
that, like,
you
people
believe
can
it.
tell me anything.
Yeah, there was a kid that was in my. This was in one of my friends' like schools, and he told everyone that his dad owned the LA Kings, which is just a fully Googleable. Like you can Google who owns the LA Kings.
Yeah.
And it's not some random kid. It's like some random kid's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
love
a
it.
kid who lied about his dad being a member of the SWAT police, but his dad was a
SWAT.
local pizza delivery guy. So he would
Like,
come
we
and
know your dad.
he's delivered the pizzas to our classrooms. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, oh no, it's a sting operation.
Also, like, that's a cool job as a kid. Like, if you're like, my dad's a pizza delivery guy, you're like, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely,
You don't
yeah.
need to
Yeah.
lie about that.
You get free pizza.
I was always like, I was really shy, and I didn't have there's not a lot of boys in my family, so I was always like weird, like nervous around the boys in my class. I remember we had to get in third grade, we were separated into groups, and we all had to study a different Native American tribe. And it was me and 3 boys, and I lied to them because they were really into explosives. So all they wanted to talk about was explosives, and I said like, my parents said for my 16th birthday they'll buy me C4. And my dad had dynamite in the garage.
Yeah.
Which is like not true, obviously. But I was just like, but I wanted to just be a part of it so
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Also like a big American school thing. They're like, indigenous people are mythical and
Mhm.
you get to learn, they're part of the past.
Yeah.
They're from the past and you can learn about them and that's it.
Canada's quite like that too, except we talk a lot about maize, which is corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I feel like most people, if you ask them what you learned about Indigenous Canadians, it's like, well, they called corn maize.
That's kind of it.
That's kind of it.
Yeah.
They had some corn. It was all corn centric.
Yeah.
Which is great because I wouldn't say the corn is like a big Canadian crop, you know?
We have like a couple.
Unless I'm
we
missing
have, I think
something.
corn is okay. I think any fall crop is big, like apples and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah. I love a gourd. I love me some squash.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Do you
Squash.
roast it in the oven and then because you can like roast it in the oven and then take the fork to it?
Yeah, for
Spaghetti
sure.
squash.
I'll eat
Yum.
a squash anyway.
Okay.
No, squash rocks.
I started baking apples in the oven.
Oh, so
you can
good.
just take the core out and then you basically steam them
Mhm.
with cinnamon. And I'm like,
Ooh.
I feel like I'm a wench when I do it. Like it feels so
Yeah.
peasantly.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a woman
Yeah.
who's providing in the olden days.
I love just simple cooking like that, where it's just this is what my great granny did too.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know,
I love that.
she made some oats.
That's it. It didn't have to be good. It didn't have to be good.
Didn't have to be good, just had to be edible.
Yeah.
It was life on the farm.
Yes.
Or wherever they lived. I don't know. So anyway,
You have farm vibes.
no, this is the thing. I think I've said this on this podcast before, but truly everything in my biological clock is telling me to go look for my 3 sons that are out fighting in the Scottish Highlands,
Yeah.
In a war
You
for
feel
some
the
Yeah.
man that's
Seeing
declared himself king of
Yes.
of Scotland.
Yeah.
And I'm just I guess I'll do stand-up comedy. You know, or just where are my sons? They're all dead.
Yeah.
But one survives. His name is McLaughlin. He goes
Or
on to
it's
carry the family name.
The Irish Kevin.
yeah.
It's spelled, it's Quevlin or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember learning that when somebody was like, that's Kevin, by
Yeah.
the way. And I was like, there's a Q in that. So I'm going to go with no on that.
I should be home with Siobhan.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
teaching her how to make oats
Definitely.
and potato. I don't know. Who cares?
Is that
Whatever.
why they have those accents? Are they pronouncing all those letters in those names? That's why they talk funny?
They talk.
I was almost a Siobhan, and my mom put her foot down and was like,
yeah.
she will never be able to spell it first.
No, she's fucked. Because I think it's like the Irish language is different than the English
True.
language.
Yeah.
But
they
then
were
it was
colonized.
then it's like the same alphabet, right? So then it's like
Yeah.
spell everything. But by the way, you get to pick how the vowels sound. You get to freestyle. Like the way it took us as a society 3 months to figure out what Saoirse Ronan's name was. Like we had to learn in a big way. And imagine you're in like a great movie and you're doing like an Oscar press tour and all it is like, so how do I say your name?
Yeah.
And you're like, I've already answered this question.
It is funny though, because I feel like most people have names, like even if your name is really commonly accepted, like I feel like most people are still like mispronouncing their name through the years.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Because it's just like things just get like simplified. Like no one ever says my last name correctly, which is like not a big
How would you
deal.
say your last name correctly?
It's like Macmillan. But then it's like the real pronunciation, like if you go back like 1,000 years, like Macmillan.
Okay, well, I'm not
yeah.
going to do that.
Which I'm like, if someone started doing that, I'd be so angry.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not mad about it. I'm just sort of like, yeah, whatever. Like, it's just like how it's easier to say like Macmillan than it is to say Macmillan, like with a space in between.
Macmillan.
Yeah, Macmillan.
Yeah.
Again, they're dying in the Highlands.
I need to find my boys.
I need to find my son.
I don't relate to that. I have a lot of friends who are like, my biological clock, even though I know I don't want a child, like it feels like I want a child, and my body knows that I would be dead in the water. So I'm like, I don't feel that at all. My like survival instinct is like, we can't carry a child.
Oh yeah.
We will not. You will not survive.
No, I'm very the opposite, which I have like no proof for it, but I'm just like, yeah, I could have a kid easy, like whatever. Like, I could have upwards of 8 to 10 sons. Like,
Yeah.
what are they good? Like, you know, like it's
Easy
fine.
pregnancy.
Easy pregnancy. It's whatever. Like,
No, it would
in one door straight to the Scottish
Yeah.
Army. Like, you know.
I would be sucked dry, especially like all the babies in Reese's family are like so pear-shaped and like they're massive babies with like hips and a massive head and they all have bags under their eyes like they're exhausted. And I see those babies and I'm like, that would kill me. They would have to keep me alive to cut me open to save the child, but like I would have no nutrients. I'd have gray skin.
Oh, no.
Like it's like they're bigger. They're bigger than me. Like they come out like
Yeah.
strong,
Yeah.
because they're all fucking. They're all Vikings. Like they're
Yeah.
massive, strong
That's
babies.
funny.
Yeah,
You end up as one of those Mexican aliens.
Yeah. just like yellow and gray as fuck. My
Show
bones.
to Mexican Congress. See, like, look what
Yeah.
we found.
This is an alien. This is an alien. So anyway,
So the first Titanic movie was made in 1912,
Wow.
literally the year the ship sank,
No
starring
way.
Dorothy Gibson, who was a woman who survived the Titanic. She was on the first lifeboat off the Titanic, hopped off the lifeboat, walked onto a film set.
it's like let's farm this trauma.
They were just like, we got to get this out.
Talk about a crisis
Immediately.
actor.
No, for real.
Really? It was people loved it.
How many? It was like what? 29 days. The movie came out like 29 days
Oh, yeah,
after
it was
the sinking,
insane.
which is
Is that true?
yes.
Yeah.
No, okay. That's insane. That is too soon.
Saved from the Titanic. Okay. So the Titanic sank
They made it in 10 days.
Yeah.
And then they
Titanic
edited it.
April 15th, 1912. This movie was released May 16th, 1912.
So a lot of people found out about the Titanic sinking from the movie.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
That kicks ass.
No,
They
and
should-
then she never needed another movie because she had a mental breakdown
Oh.
after filming. Because they were like, wow, you just went through that crazy trauma. Do you want to make a movie about it?
And she wore the same clothes.
She wore the same clothes that she wore
That's
the night.
wild.
And I think we'd gone over at one point the plot of it, and they've like added a militaristic thing where when she comes back from the Titanic, her husband, who's not real, is like an actor,
Yeah.
wants to go serve his country in the Navy because the military is good.
Yeah.
And her father that lets them get married because he respects how militaristic and brave the guy
Yeah.
is for going back out onto the water, even though Dorothy almost died or something. So,
Like,
like she
horrific.
wrote it. Like she
Yeah.
literally hopped off
Yeah.
the Titanic,
Yeah.
wrote a short film. They filmed it.
It's giving like second year university when it's like, oh, my dad just died. Let's
No.
make a
Yeah.
movie about it.
Dude,
And then you end up like in your dorm crying for 4 months.
I am in a short story class right now, and everybody's like, the first story I write, has to be about the trauma I'm actively going through in this
Oh
moment.
my God.
Yeah, there's nothing, because I've never done, like, I never studied anything like creative. Like I didn't I don't have like a theater degree or anything. So I was doing it with Ben, who was on the podcast as well. And he was like, we're going to go into this class and you need to be prepared for the fact that somebody's going to talk about their divorce. And then it happened immediately. Like a woman was immediately like, I'm going through a separation.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, good. So happy to read about that.
No, divorced women will give you some of the strangest content in the world
Yes.
in a way that's like kind of inspiring, but also like incredibly worrying.
Yes.
Like I met this woman, I probably shouldn't dox this too much, but I met this woman and we'll tell you where I met her. But she was like, I'm recently divorced. I'm terrified of coming into the city. And I've recently started a podcast with my other divorced friends. We talk about finding ourselves. I was like, of course you have. Of course you have. And you won't drink milk from cows.
Yeah.
Like that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But people love trauma. I remember like when I was in theater school, there was like a 4-year period where every single play was about like, it was a 1-person play about like just the worst trauma you've ever heard.
Yeah.
And they just kind of talk about it for 90 minutes and then everyone would write about how inspired they were. It's like, no, you weren't.
No, we just can't, you can't say anything
That was
about
sad.
Yeah.
You just can't insult it.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
know?
I have a friend, and in like the Sears Drama Festival for our non-Ontario residents, it's basically just like a child drama festival where children can write their own plays in high school and you can
Is that
perform
what
it.
it is?
Yeah.
Yes.
I never knew what
So
this was.
so kids will write a one act and then like direct it and have their friends in it. And the school that I went to in grade 12 like had like a competitive, we had an in-school Sears Drama Festival to pick the best one to then go to the next round against the other schools.
Oh my God.
And my friend, he wrote one called Les Millennials, Millennial. in
Oh my God,
French.
that's fantastic.
Yeah. And it was just
That's
like, it was just like 3 millennials in an apartment. All took place in one apartment. And they were just talking about like gender roles or whatever. And they're like experiencing traumas on the outside world and how the news was really depressing.
Oh my God.
And I remember it's funny when you're like 17 and you're like, this will be funny in a couple of years.
Oh yeah.
But I was also in like my play, this fucking kid, like love him dearly, but like he should be checked in on, because what the fuck was it? It was written in Old English.
Wait, lame millennial?
That was the difference. This is what I was in.
God.
This was called, it wasn't called like The Hills Have Eyes, but it was something like that. It was
Oh my
like,
God.
it was like Laughing at Canyons or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I was a little farm girl who had been possessed by the devil and had seizures.
Which is the energy you're giving.
Yes,
Yeah.
the role I was born to play, because my mother abused me and hit me with a stick, and my father like sexually abused me.
Oh my God.
And then the landlord comes
Double
to collect
abuse.
the money, and I hold them all hostage and kill them all.
Yeah.
I want
Okay.
you, everyone in this
Retribution.
play is 16. Like, you know what I mean? It's like my dad or whatever, but we're all the same age.
Yeah.
And it was very much, I won the Sears Award because I was very much acting is screaming.
Okay.
Acting is screaming as loud as you can.
So you killed.
And I
You
was like,
killed
and I
and
was
you
like,
killed.
I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna retire. But that's like very much what this Titanic movie is. It's like,
Yeah.
what's the one thing that's happened to me?
Yeah, I'm really quite glad that like my high school didn't make us write anything,
But you're missing out on so much good content.
Creativity.
Honest, I feel like I
know.
should see more high school plays because I remember all the Sears things. I wasn't in any, but all the ones I saw, were like a kid dealing or like stories about drug addicts or
Yeah.
abortion and just people punching above their weight. I'm just like I'm ready to take on the big topics. Yeah. So-
You just Google like big topics.
Yeah.
and, like,
have-
one of the first 5.
They have Teen Fringe in Toronto, which is 2 plays in the Toronto Fringe Festival are written by teenagers and performed by the whole team has to be
Mhm.
teenagers. And I saw them both.
Oh my
And
God.
one was about a high school who was protesting a new dress code. And the
Nice.
POV was kind of it kind of came around to it was anti-cancel culture because the teacher who had lost his job because he said something racist ended up learning from the protest that that he should fight for people's rights.
Yeah.
The other one I saw was written by a kid who he had wrote it, directed, and starred in it. And it was basically he found out his parents had died and he found out that he had a secret brother and he went to go meet his brother in Northern Ontario.
Oh my God.
But then he left his girlfriend by the side of the road and she slept in a ditch and then had a lesbian relationship with a middle-aged woman who saved her. Everyone in this play
Oh my
is 16.
God.
Everyone in the play is 16. Yeah. Because the lesbian's wife was serving in the war.
Of course.
I don't know which one.
Someone's always got to be in the
But
war.
when I tell you, it was like such a test of not to laugh because every single scene when they were changing the chairs, like and stuff like that, they'd go zum 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 zum. And I was like, I can't.
Here's the thing.
Literally, I was pitch perfect. Everybody should go see more children's theater. I think your soul will be really fed by
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do think that there's something about like, because I feel like as adults, everyone's like, I'm going to make art. It's going to be so good. I took all these classes. But when you're 16, you're just like, let's just go for it.
Yeah.
Like everyone's going to applaud me anyway.
Yes,
Nothing
very
to
much.
lose.
Like, would you write a play in Old English now? Maybe not. But at like 17, you're like, absolutely.
Yeah, take
I
a
will
risk.
Let's
Yeah.
do it. Let's
Why
do
not?
it. I know. I think of the shit I did in like grade 12 drama, and I'm like, I have to kill everyone in that class.
I did a monologue. They assigned me a monologue from a play called Wit, which was like a 50-year-old woman dying of cancer. And they were just like, this is what you're giving. Do this monologue. I did the monologue, and afterwards, my teacher was just like, you're just not grasping onto the emotion. I'm like, I'm 17. What is this? Everyone else got to do Our Town, and I'm
Yeah.
doing like Canadian contemporary woman dying of cancer. What?
That's insane.
I was so mad. They
I
hated
think kids just get lucky when something's good, when someone's a prodigy. Like S.E. Hinton is
Yeah.
probably like really is doing the same thing of writing a story about like
Yes.
gangs and stabbings, where it's like, oh wow, it just like
Yeah, just
Okay.
pick a big thing and just you'll get lucky
yeah.
if it's good.
That's great.
I know so much of that. Like that's also how I feel in my adult life. I'm like, I have no interest in writing anything that I've ever personally experienced. I don't want anyone to ever know about a trauma. And everything now, especially I feel like that's made about young women is like, and 6 out of the 10 people in this show are raped. Like it's just like, it's like the word on everybody's lips is sexual assault. And it's like, I don't even want to think about what Sears Drama Festival is now.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh my God.
Because surely they're like tackling like Jordan Peterson and cancel culture and no.
Yeah.
Does it still exist? Is Sears still a thing?
There's some
Because the
Is it
store
re-
closed.
Is it related to
thing
the
is,
store?
The store closed. I think it's still running with a different like promoter in some way. Like
Zellers.
the Zellers, yeah,
Zellers,
the
yeah.
Dollarama.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Drama
Honestly,
festival.
Dollarama Theater would be incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love
just the story of
Dollarama.
people who go there. Yeah.
Yes.
When I'm sad, I go to Dollarama and just like completely defeat the purpose of it being a budget store by spending $7. Okay.
Tell us about the next one.
Okay, so the next Titanic movie, there's so many Titanic movies also. There were so many like made for TV movies, blah, blah, blah. There are also like documentaries that we kind of went over in the last episode where they went down to the ship, filmed the ship, amazing. But this one, the 1958 A Night to Remember is considered like the most accurate kind of portrayal
This
of
is like with the Titanic
going down.
the Titanic fans, like that, like the people who are fans of the ship and not the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
like,
a big divide in the Titanic Reddit where they get really mad that people post like Leonardo DiCaprio paintings and they're like, I just want to talk about the rivets. Why are there no
Yeah.
rivets? I want to talk about the ship.
Exactly. So this one like is very like based in
Beloved.
real life.
Yeah.
Like historians like it, like hardcore fans like it. Like
Is it boring though?
production value isn't super high. I don't know. Honestly, bad to admit this. I haven't watched it. It's been on my list for a while.
Okay, yeah.
It's on your letterbox.
Yeah.
I think it is on my letterbox. I think it's literally on YouTube. But
Right.
Wait,
yeah.
what year did he come out?
It was 1958.
Oh, that's not a
Yeah.
great year for movies though.
So it was like the production value kind of sucked. It didn't do
Everyone
well at the
talking in a
box office.
transatlantic accent.
And then they went, oh, we gotta get off the
Oh,
Titanic.
sorry.
Oh, Sonny, yes, honey.
Well, I don't
Um,
know what I'll do about that. Have you seen those like old movie bloopers? They're crazy.
Oh yeah, they're all exactly
They'll, like,
like,
talk-
oh
they talk-
darling, I shot the gun by
Fuck,
accident.
fuck, fuck. Yeah.
Oh fuck, cock.
Yeah. Cock.
So yeah, people really like A Night to Remember. That's probably like, other than like the James Cameron epic Titanic, that was pretty big.
And I to remember is also a song in High School Musical 3.
It's gonna be a night.
And the whole premise is the girls love prom and the boys don't really like prom because they don't
Boys
like to
don't
dress
like
up.
prom.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Tim, can you
Yeah.
confirm?
Yeah.
What side would you sing on in The Night to Remember? But then the real kicker, the film I really want to talk about, 1980s Raise the Titanic, which was absolutely, it was a bomb. People hated it. It was terrible. It's about they raise the Titanic out of the ocean.
It's not real.
But
Yeah.
it's like to win the Cold War.
Okay, so I'm gonna need you to break this down. I'm actually gonna need you to break this down because I'm gonna
awesome.
I'm gonna need to know what the connection is there.
Yeah.
Are they
so,
throwing it like a missile?
Yeah,
or-
no,
there's a type of mineral on the Titanic that they need, and it's only on the Titanic. And to win the Cold War, they got to bring up the Titanic to get it. And so there's like a
to bring the
shot.
Berlin Wall to its knees.
Basically, yeah. It's they used compressed air tanks and buoyancy aids to just lift the Titanic. They tow it into New York. Yeah.
It stays together because, of course, your
Yeah,
hand
of
is
course.
so in my face right now. It's crazy.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Is this making you uncomfortable? Sorry. Yeah. So, and then they get the mineral, and they maintain the
So
peace
what
between
is
the West and the
mineral-
Soviet Union.
Yes. So what is the mineral used for?
Listening?
Because is it like a plutonium kind of thing of like they need it to make a nuke?
Yeah, or is it like decomposed bodies?
Oh yes, rich person bones. That's what we need when we make a big missile. That's what Oppenheimer's about.
It seems like they never get the minerals.
Wait, what?
And instead they find a note left by like a mummified passenger.
Okay, how's the note stayed?
That says,
That doesn't make any. It's written on fucking water.
this movie I think was horrible. I started watching it. I could not.
Do you ever have like hear that thing of like it's like the invisible ink of it all?
Yeah.
Like instead of invisible, they're like, I'm gonna write this on rubber.
Yeah.
I have a Sharpie and it's not in the 1910s, and I have the world's first fucking Sharpie.
Yeah. So everyone hated it. And it has a 38%.
I don't understand what happened.
I don't understand what happened.
If they were to bring the Titanic out of the water in real life, would you be for it? Or do you think, is it like, leave history alone?
We were talking about this. It is a grave site. I think we should, if in a perfect world, I would be fine to bring it out and put it in a museum.
Yeah.
I just know it's going to be like in a condo. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like they're going to put it behind glass somewhere, and it's not going to be, it's going to be in like a rich person's vault.
Yeah.
I'm like, if it was in a perfect world, yes, let's put it in a museum.
Yeah, but it would never happen.
No.
Because right now the biggest chunk of the Titanic is in a Las Vegas casino.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You're for it.
Yeah,
You're for that.
absolutely. I feel like that'll bring you luck on the slot.
Yeah, you
Things we've
gotta
learned about
rub
Tim.
the side of the Titanic.
He hates prom. He loves casinos. So this is the log line from the internet. Cold War adventure yarn in which the Americans and Russians compete to salvage the wreck of the Titanic from the bottom of the North Atlantic, believing it to hold the only supply of a vital ingredient for the ultimate nuclear deterrent.
Okay.
Oh,
The
that's-
American venture is compromised as personal rivalries come to the floor.
Anybody
Wow.
famous in it?
There is I'm gonna say no. I'm actually looking at this.
I like the genre of a Cold War adventure yarn. That is
Yes.
fun. You know, you got a
Yarn.
ticking clock.
Yeah.
We're ready
Yarn
to
is-
fall a star.
Oh, you know who was in it? One of the guys from
Oh my
Brooklyn
God, the guy
Nine-Nine.
Oh, wow.
Nine-Nine,
He
Sully?
plays Hitchcock.
Hitchcock.
Hitchcock on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Hitchcock was on
Was in Raise the Titanic.
That's insane. So there's a mineral on the Titanic that can stop nukes, basically. And it's anti-nuke. And the Russians want it and the Americans want it, so they race to get it from the Titanic.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. How would you raise the Titanic if you had to?
Chopsticks. Really big chopsticks coming at an angle.
Do you feel good about your chopstick skills? You feel like you
Yeah.
can
I got a handle. Yeah.
Okay, good.
You can really use chopsticks.
I do think that's a big ick for me.
It's
If
not
somebody
being able to
really
use
can't, and
chopsticks.
somebody can't really maneuver it, and they're too close to
Oh,
the
yeah.
front, you're like, you gotta move them back. You gotta move them back. I know it's not racist to not be able to use
Yeah.
chopsticks.
No, but it does feel.
It feels
does feel-
ignorant.
You're an adult. It's some way. Yeah.
gotta
If you're a
absolutely.
child, I
Put some
get it.
practice in.
No, exactly. Put the time in. It's worth
Especially
it.
like it's so humiliating to me. Like if you're like, oh, let's order sushi, whatever, and someone's just like, can I go to your kitchen and get a fork? It's like, no.
No.
I'd rather you eat it with your hands,
Yeah.
honestly.
It's the
Like,
culinary equivalent of only speaking English.
yeah, exactly. It's just
It's
sort of
like,
what do you?
it's tacky.
Also, like chopsticks are literally not that hard to use. I'm like even like you know like sometimes you see people holding a fork wrong, like they're holding
Yes.
it like a trident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, did no one teach you how to hold things? Like, what is wrong? Why are you eating like a barbarian?
That's
right
how I
now?
always felt, because I used to have bad handwriting, but then like as a kid one day I just decided to stop having bad handwriting and just like it took me a while to write, but I wrote having good handwriting. And whenever I would look over my shoulder at the kids with bad handwriting, I was like, who raised you?
Yeah.
Like the little scribble? Like I
Be
was like,
better.
I was like, you're an orphan. Like what's happening here?
They also they're in 2021 they put out a documentary film called The Six
Daisy Jones and the Six.
It was Daisy Jones and the Six is actually based on the Titanic.
Yes.
But it's a documentary film. It's a Chinese film about the 6 Chinese survivors of the Titanic.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just put this out recently, and I really want to watch it. I heard about it.
Did we cover
Look at
that
this.
in another episode? The survivors that were Chinese. I'll say it out loud just in case it gets cut. On the Titanic, this was when there was a ban on anybody from an Asian country immigrating to the United States, but they were going on the Titanic to get to New York to then get work in the Caribbean. So they were going down there. The Titanic sunk. They survived. Spoiler alert. They survived on that lifeboat that was overturned. It was overturned, and they were on top of it. And they were denied passage to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So they were just well, I need to go somewhere, and they couldn't get anywhere. And they were also a victim of racist newspaper campaign, basically being they stole a seat from a white man.
And it was also at the time of the Chinese Exclusion Act.
Yes,
and stuff,
that's what
so
it's
it was
called,
it was
yes.
really at the peak.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's incredible. All
Yeah,
right.
and they survived. They
Too bad.
They survived, and they went to the Caribbean.
Yeah. But yeah, I literally heard about this movie, looking this stuff
That's
up.
that's a good tilt.
And it's produced by James Cameron too.
Oh,
which
Okay,
nice.
so we know
All
it's got
right.
the good. He's
Jimmy Cams.
Jimmy
Jim
Cam.
Jim
Love
Cam.
that.
Episcoping
Crazy
legends. He
Canadian.
gave it a big stamp of approval. So, which is nice. So I really want to watch that. And then, there's so much media on the Titanic. There were a lot of TV shows.
I want a
episodes and
concept
stuff
album.
like that.
I want a concept
Yes.
album on that, or I want American Horror Story Titanic.
Yeah.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
I feel like it's perfect to make medium of because it's it's a disaster, but it's also not political. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're a big fan of Pearl Harbor, the movie,
Yeah.
You
They're
also love war or something, but
that's
it's
fucked. Yeah, I think that's very true. It's
like
we
in
can all
America
agree
wins.
it's bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's happy the Titanic sank. It wasn't pushing any motive. It was just
it would today. There
maybe
would be
big
some kind of
ice.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, we started posting reels from this, and we're getting weird comments from QAnon people who were it's actually funny because it was actually sunk to kill rich white men. I'm well,
Oh, and the spin was that women were complicit in that. So it's funny that you say that if the girls drove the Titanic, it wouldn't have crashed because
women were complicit.
actually women were married to the rich men
Who died?
who died. It's what are you saying?
It's
Yeah.
there just was a time now everything has to be anti-vax. It's it would somehow become that
Yeah.
where it's existing in this period of time where we can just be it's just its own thing and it's sad and we can all agree on that.
Mhm.
Also, it's now it's become its own. It's self mythological in a sense where now it's if you say the Titanic, we all know the vibe.
Yeah.
You can make it be this movie's about the Titanic, and then people are oh great, I know exactly what this is going to be.
Yeah.
It's gonna sink.
But now, Carly,
Yes.
I know you want to talk about the Titanic musical,
I do.
which I've been absolutely aching to hear. Because as you know, the person who I want on the Titanic musical, obviously Rachel Zegler.
Yes, we want Rachel Zegler on the Titanic musical.
Rachel
Titanic
Zegler?
musical revival. We'll
Starring
be
Rachel-
donate to the
Rachel
GoFundMe, and we're gonna do it.
And we're going to do it, Rachel
And we make
Zegler.
shirts for you. Come on the podcast.
We made
Come
shirts.
on the podcast. Rachel Zegler.
Rachel Zegler, we want you on the podcast so bad.
We want, and it's not a joke.
It's not. We're
That's what's it's
literally
been
not
pointed out
joking.
to me that it might seem we're joking to kind of
We're not
to
joking.
lure you in to do something. No.
We just love you, and we honestly think that you get along. We get along.
Yeah.
we can
Do you
hang out.
know if she likes the Titanic?
No.
Who
What
doesn't?
are the Titanic musical songs like?
They're all so it's a we were watching there's so many filmed versions of the Titanic musical because it's a big high school one for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's so many men singing in a baritone kind of attitude of literally being the sea, it's rising. It's that there's not a single bop in
Oh,
this
no.
entire musical. We should listen to a song from it, I think. Okay.
Yeah, I'm already bored.
It's also a crazy musical to pick for a high school because you need so many boys that can sing.
Yeah.
And every high school is maybe 2.
They're all going through puberty.
Yeah.
That's what they always do, though.
This is the song that they sing during the musical, during when the sinking is happening.
Is it just called Titanic the Musical?
Yeah.
Yes, because there's a new musical that's like a comedy musical called Titanic.
Which is a Celine Dion jukebox musical.
Yes,
Oh,
it's a Celine Dion jukebox. It's like a comedy musical fully. Like the woman who was
Yeah, it's
playing
like a
Celine Dion is like
parody.
a UCB comedian. And it's about Celine Dion hijacking a tour at the Titanic Museum.
Which is incredible.
It seems really
I
fun.
want to see it so badly.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of fun. So this one, let's talk about the Titanic musical. So the musical was written by Maury Yeston and I want to say Peterstone.
Peterson.
Okay. So the interest in the Titanic, they were both very like interested in the Titanic, but it was when the Challenger explosion happened that they wanted to create the musical because of like the disaster of it all was in the zeitgeist. I should say, if you want to learn more about this, there's a video essay on YouTube done by Waiting in the Wings.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's incredible.
It was an absolutely fabulous piece of filmmaking,
Yes.
Waiting in the Wings.
So they met together when, and they were like, we're going to write this Titanic musical together. Now, this Titanic musical, it was ill-fated. It had a lot of problems in the production. They needed to get producers because the end budget ended up being $10 million, which is like a crazy budget at the time. And it was because the set was the ship and they used hydraulics.
Which was the thing in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
is
that
crazy.
when the ship sunk, the set like turned at a 45-degree angle, which is the actual angle the ship was at when it snapped in half.
Which is like 45 degrees.
That's amazing.
Doesn't sound that big, but like that
40,
is like
it's enough.
I want to
Yes,
see that
flipping
dance
sliding.
number as it's
Well,
going up.
literally, like
Oh
that
my
was a
God.
big problem in previews because people were falling while they were acting.
they're falling down, like furniture was falling, so they were like
Yeah, the furniture was
thing.
falling.
They were getting hit by tables.
You also have to like sing a song, by the way, while this is happening. All of these things. So like they needed to get two people to raise the budget. They got one normal person to raise 50% of the budget. And they were people who raised money for like revivals and whatever.
Yeah, they're like musical theater producers.
Yes. And then there was one guy who was like this like big Lebowski stoner guy who went to Dalton and Harvard and was like a millionaire. But the first day of rehearsals, he didn't show up. And the guy who wrote it was like, why isn't the producer here? Like, he needs to be here. So they sent the stage manager to this guy's house. And he was dead on the toilet.
Oh my God.
Died.
And then it turns out like he hadn't been any of those things. Like his whole existence was a lie.
He was a con man.
Yeah. Like he just like never existed and that like there's no photos of this guy. This guy just like for all intents and
Just said,
purposes.
I went
like,
to Harvard.
Yeah.
He was like, I went to Harvard and I have millions of dollars. It's like he had no money. He was homeless half the time.
Yes.
Like, and he was just like, yeah, I'll produce your show.
So they
for
were out
$5 million,
$5 million. Like they needed $10 million to get the musical to go. And he said he was going to raise $5 million and he was dead and did not do that. So they talked to, I have his name down, but he's a reality TV show producer named Joep van den End.
Okay.
And
He's a reality TV show producer. He did Wipeout, Deal or No Deal, and Fear Factor.
Yeah.
So
he stepped
Joe Rogan.
yeah.
Joe Rogan head.
Joe
He
Rogan
helped
guy.
raise the rest of the $5 million to get them to the previews. They were rushing previews because they wanted opening night to be the same night that the Titanic set sail for New York. So they were rushing,
Which
to get
is
to
crazy.
Why? Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, why do people want to do that? Where it's just like, let's do the thing on the same day this tragedy happened.
9/11 musical on
Yeah.
9/11,
Whenever like the inevitable 9/11 musical comes out,
and it's gonna.
Hey, isn't it already out? Far from
Come
away.
from away.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
but Come From Away like is still kind of like 9/11 adjacent.
Yeah, true.
Like,
you want to see the towers.
Yeah, exactly. I really do
Real
think.
pyrotechnics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be like make the hydraulics happen, and they really fall.
I think we're
You
gonna
know
get like
how
at least
in-
like 50 years
not
away.
to, and again, sorry, not to reference Hamilton, but in Hamilton, there's a character that plays the bullet.
yes.
And she plays Anita in West Side Story with Rachel Zegler. But
Yes,
she plays
love
the
her.
bullet, and she's the bullet that shoots Hamilton.
Mhm.
And I think we need a plane actor
Yeah.
in the 9/11
Yeah.
musical. And they're
Yeah.
doing a
Plane.
lyrical dance as it happens.
Yeah.
Lots of like red streamers, like streamer dancing.
Hydraulics for the towers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like a Dear Evan Hansen kind of musical where every single song can be taken out of context of the musical to be played on the radio. So it's a song that's like, I'm falling for you. But it's sung by the Towers.
Not again.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah. So when the previews opened for the Titanic musical, it was really bad. Like it was panned a lot in previews and they had to make a lot of changes before they opened. Part of it was because the Titanic only took like 2.5 hours to sink?
Oh yeah, like 2 hours 45 minutes.
2 hours, and the musical is 4 hours long, which is crazy long.
There's also a 40-minute sequence at the end of just the ship, like the
sinking sequence is 40 minutes long with not a song.
Wow.
It's just 40 minutes
All
of talking.
dialogue.
Also, that's obviously a song to me.
Yeah, exactly. It's the one place you put a song
Is
at
the
the end.
sinking, for sure.
You don't just end a musical with a bunch of talking and death.
For 40 minutes?
Yeah.
And the band didn't stop, right? They have them play the backing track.
Like,
yeah.
come on.
The band.
A big, also there, it follows like about 20 different characters. So at the end sequence, when people are getting on the lifeboats, everyone's talking over each other and you can't really tell who's speaking.
Because
and
there were like
who's
20 main characters in the musical. So they have to wrap up all their stories.
Yes. And also it's not like you can cut between, like, you know what I mean? Like if it's like a show, you can cut in between all these little scenelets. But because it's a musical, all these scenes are happening at the same fucking time. And also, by the way, the stage is at a 45-degree angle. And the furniture is sliding and everyone's falling. If
You're
you
gonna
watch,
get hit by a couch.
there's like a bootleg of somebody recording the original production online, and the way these people are holding onto railings, like they cannot stand.
You're holding on to railings, trying to wrap up 20 different
Yes.
storylines, trying to avoid getting hit by a chair. While you're also just like, and then after, like,
And it's the audience is also like just bummed the fuck out because they're watching a musical where everyone dies. Like it's not even like the James Cameron movie does some good stuff of like it's very sad. But like the like Rose telling the story at the end does a good job of having it that the movie doesn't end at like everyone's dead now, by the way.
Exactly.
It's like trying to give you a little buffer between the saddest thing ever. This movie just ends with it's like people died. Like by the way, here's 20 of the characters that you've been following for 4 hours and they're all dead. Over a 40-minute sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Also, on the first preview, the ship didn't sink. Like the hydraulics didn't work. The hydraulics didn't work. So it didn't move at all. And then they did a couple times where people were falling in the previews because of the hydraulics. So it was reduced to a 30-degree angle, not a 45-degree angle, which is still crazy.
But better.
The actors were given shoe grips and the furniture was bolted to the ground.
I would be so mad if I got into my dressing room being
And
like,
I saw
I
the
hope
shoe
the
grips.
producers fix something about the
Yeah.
ship and they've given me sticky shoes. I'd be so angry.
I love how they have to find it out as they go along.
I know.
Like they don't. No one thinks about this beforehand.
No, it's actually crazy to me that you have the stage at a 45-degree angle and the shoe grips weren't part of it originally.
Yeah, like what do you think?
Like that's obviously the first fucking thought.
I know, and I'm like, I
Also, like women are in character shoes. Like you know what I mean?
I
Like those women are in
know.
Laducas.
You've got like
a
leather
heel.
bottom Laduca
Yeah.
going on this.
You're gonna
thing.
slide down and break your
My Laducas. No. If I broke my Laducas on the Titanic musical
I would
opening
be
night,
so
I'd
mad.
literally shoot someone.
my $600
I would
dance
Abraham
shoe.
Lincoln that theater.
Yes. Okay. So Abraham Lincoln was the one who got shot. So by that you would get shot in the theater.
Sure.
I would get shot
I mean,
so
you know
bad.
what it would do to the theater would happen to Abraham Lincoln. I would Tommy Lee Jones that theater.
Yes. Mud. No, Mud's the doctor who set Lincoln's assassin's leg when he broke it, and he was tried for treason.
No, it's not Tommy Lee Jones. What is it? Tommy Lee Roth?
John Wilkes Booth.
John Wilkes.
You just know 3 names. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Fuck.
That's crazy. I thought that Tommy Lee Jones was like an actor in a Lincoln movie I haven't seen. I just assumed. No,
Who's Tommy Lee Roth?
That's a new name you've invented.
Oh, he's in.
No. You're thinking of Philip Roth?
Who's that?
He's an author.
No.
Tim Roth from Pulp Fiction.
You really hold on to your Tim.
I know my Tims.
David Lee Roth?
David Lee Roth. Yeah, who's that?
David Lee Roth
He's
is
he's
a singer.
Yeah, he's been the
Van
band.
Halen.
Oh
He's
yeah,
in Van Halen.
Okay.
I was thinking the guy.
Well, it's John Wilkes Booth.
John Wilkes Booth. I don't even care. You know what? Never mind. I don't even want to make a joke.
It's not a Truthtanic episode until you sob for no reason. Why are you crying?
crying. I'm fine. I'm laughing. Because I think of Tommy Lee.
I guess Tommy Lee Jones could have shot Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. You're trying to protect your feelings now. It's okay. You don't have to know John Wilkes Booth. Are you crying because you don't know John Wilkes Booth?
I cry when I'm overwhelmed. Guys are bullying. I don't know. Stupid people. I don't care.
Fucking Glee. This is some Glee fucking shit. I found out, I've talked this before online, I found out that Reese thought that Kurt's name in Glee, he he thought that Kurt's name was Glee. And the show,
Oh, that's so
like he was the titular character and the show was named Glee. Because we were talking about Darren Criss and he was like, yeah, he plays like Glee's boyfriend. And I was like, who the fuck is Glee?
Like Kurt, yeah.
Kurt Glee.
Yeah, Glee Hummel.
Oh man, the hoops he must have jumped through to get to that conclusion.
It's like that RuPaul. You've seen that RuPaul clip where he says that Ben Platt plays Deer in Dear Evan Hansen.
He played Deer.
Yes, so the musical. So it was panned in previews and they knew they had to make changes. One of the changes was they gave them grippy shoes and made the stage 15 degrees less inclined, only 30 degrees. But the main problem was the end because it was just like such a bummer. It's a 40-minute musical. It's a 44-hour musical and there's a 40-minute section of just talking where everyone gets bummed out that every character is dying.
So every character is a real historical figure.
Oh,
So
yes.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, nobody's invented. You're
Yeah.
yeah.
No, they're just like, which I honestly, that's such a good point about like the James Cameron movie does a really good job of being like, here's Rose when she's old as the earth.
And she's alive, and she's alive.
and she's making pottery and she's like, have you found the heart of the ocean yet? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, so she makes it.
So I can like her. Like I can stick with her and not be like
Yeah.
everyone in this movie is going to die.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not the case for this musical.
But when you use like pure historical figures, you could just like, like either way, even if they survive, at that point they're dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, famously, we've talked about in the first episode, I don't care if a man in a monocle is dead, but other people might care.
Yeah.
Also, like if you're seeing it, like when you should watch the Titanic movie because it's incredibly sad.
Oh, you're gonna lose your mind. It's so good.
But it's like,
I'm
it
actually
is-
jealous.
But it is kind of sad. Like I watched that movie because I did that Titanic comedy show that we both did, and I was like, I've got to see how what it is. And I was like, how the fuck am I going to do comedy about this?
Yeah.
Everyone dies.
Yeah.
Like everyone dies.
Fabrizio.
Yeah.
Poor rest in peace.
I know. No, they all really die. That's the thing.
Yes.
The Titanic, again,
It's
once
sad.
an episode reminder that
The Titanic is sad. And you
Yeah.
shouldn't laugh at it.
Don't laugh
I've
at
never
it.
seen the movie, but I have seen that scene of the old couple getting ready to
Oh,
die.
yeah.
Yeah.
King
Yeah.
Princess's
Yeah.
great grandparents.
Do you know King Princess the singer?
Yes, yeah.
That's canonically her great grandparents.
Oh, wait. Oh, and in real life? The people who died on the ship?
Yes, because
Oh,
they own Macy's. King Princess is the heir to like the Macy's fortune.
That's awesome.
I mean, good for her.
No, I wish.
I'm fine with it.
No, I would. Okay, you're angry. We're all fine with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay,
I never said it wasn't
the
fun.
emotional roller coaster that is this side.
I just can't do anything.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. I feel amazing.
No, that's okay. That's good.
Never felt better.
So they had to fix. Okay. They had to fix the 40-minute sequence at the end where there's no fucking song, which is crazy. So Yeston, who's like the composer, is trying to figure out how they can make a song that makes it simple. So it's not 20 people talking over each other. And he thinks back to when his children asked him who Richard Nixon was. Okay?
Okay.
And he had to figure out how to explain who Richard Nixon was to them without talking about all the horrific stuff he did.
Mm-hmm.
And he went, fucking, okay, light bulb.
Yeah.
I'm galaxy braining right now. And he writes a song called We'll Meet Tomorrow. And it's a mother explaining to her child what's happening as the Titanic is sinking, but in simplified, not really scary terms that a child will understand.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's
Brought the
cute.
house down.
That's cute.
Yes.
I like that.
Also, I don't know how you would explain to your child who Richard Nixon was.
Why is your child asking about Richard Nixon?
I know.
That's like very much the end of the Into the Woods too.
How does the end into what's end?
She-
I've honestly only seen the first act like 900 times.
So Into the Woods Jr.
Yes, exactly.
First act.
No, exactly.
No, they goes like, he's like, maybe I wasn't meant to have children, and then the ghost of the baker's wife goes like, oh, no, don't worry, just talk to the child, and then the things you say, children will listen. Then they all come sing out, and they're just like, just tell your kids the way to live is very sad. They all sing. Why do you make me explain these things?
Because you're like using a lilting voice. And the entire time I was just thinking of Meryl Streep singing that like witch bean song in the musical. Yeah.
Oh, that's how they sing there. Children will listen.
Fucking Stephen Sondheim, man. Not to spit on the dead, but Every Stephen Sondheim musical, I'm begging for a chorus. I am begging for a chorus. It's just, they're just going to patter?
They have choruses. You know, Sunday in the Park with George?
No, I don't.
Sunday with the blue, purple, yellow, red waters by the green of a
So they sing,
this to me.
We will meet tomorrow. He writes it over in 24 hours and they sing it that night. Not a dry eye in the house. Standing ovation. Everyone loves it.
Mm-hmm.
It opens without a hitch. Does really well. The hydraulics work. The song is great. People are loving it. The reviews are mixed because it's like a spectacle, but like the book is fine. Like it's not like a great musical. It's just like a fine. We listen to the songs. They're fine.
They're fine.
But it gets nominated for 5 Tony Awards and wins all 5 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. And Rosie O'Donnell gives it a glowing review on her show. And after she does, ticket sales increase by 200%.
Which I'm
wow,
so
the power
happy.
she had.
Rosie.
Oh my God.
I know.
She really went in and was just like, this is the musical to see. And the people listened.
Yeah.
Yes. And it continued to run because it opened in 1997, later the Titanic movie came out. It was a massive success. So like that pushed interest in the musical. I also just want to say, like, based on like the base level thing from like that I feel like I know about musical theater, it's like a big set like that justifies like the $500 ticket. Like if you're like, I'm gonna pay like $250 to see a Broadway show, I want to see like a stage sing.
Like I want the like helicopter to land on the stage.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
like on.
Exactly.
I need
like
someone to be vertical
Yes.
on stage.
I want to see
singing.
a woman fall.
Yeah, I want to see a woman in character shoes absolutely
just tumble to the ground.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's fun. I remember once in my high school, a guy was wearing a horse mask and just walked right off stage into the audience. That was very funny.
Brilliant.
There's a really funny video online. And it's of like a child's production of The Wizard of Oz and Toto. They're like, you can just hear somebody going, Toto, Toto, and Toto's like a real dog, and it just walks off.
Oh, no.
And you just hear like a boom.
Oh, God.
Because it's looking back, like she's going Toto, Toto. And while Toto's walking, he looks back, so he just walks into the pit. And it's a little dog.
It's tiny dog. I mean, I love like bad Milky Whites from Into the Woods because they always have a cow, and sometimes the cow is played by a person. Sometimes it's just like a fake cow, so it'll, like fall in half, or it's like some kid just walking on like his hands and feet.
I remember seeing some kind of like children's production of The Wizard of Oz, and they had double cast like every character. So each night somebody's playing someone else, except for one kid played Toto and was just a dog in a costume. And the other night, to be fair, was a puppet.
Yeah.
Imagine you were double cast with a puppet. I'd be like, I can just do the show.
I'm here.
I don't have any lines.
Like, why are you doing this to me?
Yes. Okay.
Children's theater.
So eventually the musical closed, but it was relatively successful. People still do productions today. We do want to talk about there was a production that was produced recently in Georgia where the set slowly sank into a man-made pond.
Oh, that kicks ass.
Yeah, that was full of bacteria.
Oh, no.
And it caused one of the actors' tendons to burst.
Oh, my
Which
God.
is crazy. How does a tendon burst?
I have no
You know?
idea.
I don't even know what part of the body a tendon
It's gotta
is.
be, I feel like it's a hinge.
Oh, yeah.
It's gotta be like some kind of
Some
thing.
I feel
important.
like you've got like different tendons. Like you've got several.
Because tendonitis is a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Tendonitis.
Is it? No, Achilles is a heel, not a tendon. Nah,
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe it's
No,
a tendon
Achilles
and a
is its own
heel.
thing, but they're both things that are really bad if you're a basketball player and you break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connective tissue that connects muscle to bone.
Oh,
Awesome.
my God. The muscle and the...
Oh, no!
So you got bone attached to nothing if your tendon burst.
Oh,
He's got
no.
loose bone
Muscle
inside.
That's the last thing you want to
Yeah.
burst.
No,
Yeah.
you really don't want to burst that, especially not for a fucking Georgia production of Titanic the musical.
Can you imagine like living in New York City and be like, yeah, I'm just going on contract down to Georgia, do this real experimental show, and you come back with a burst tendon and like a bacterial infection.
All right, I think it's time. You ready? Let's make this tragedy about us.
Woo!
Yeah. The segment on the show where we take the tragedy of the Titanic.
And we make it about us because the real victims of the Titanic
Are people who weren't there.
people who weren't there to experience the magic.
Because we were talking about pop culture today.
Mhm.
Tim, if you had the money, the studio's like, we want to give you money to create a piece of Titanic media.
I mean, it can be anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
What are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling a Titanic from the fish perspective. You know what I mean? So you're down there underwater living their own perfect life, and a boat comes out of nowhere. They're watching people die. They're learning the story.
Okay.
Like, Finding Nemo
That's
meets the
cool.
Titanic.
I like
that
that.
kind
I
of
like
vibe.
that a lot. You know what's fun too? I just thought of this, but like apparently there's a lot of like sea creatures that live near the Titanic that have only ever been discovered like near the Titanic.
Oh, no way.
Because of the special mineral.
Because of the special mineral that they needed for the Cold War.
Yes.
But yeah, I really like that too. It's like a new perspective.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. What about you, Carly?
I'm thinking a jukebox musical.
Yes.
With the songs of Katy Perry.
So just Titanic, but with Katy Perry.
Then I gotta think of a new idea. Fuck, I gotta be I gotta be unique.
Yeah.
I do like the American Horror Story Titanic.
I like that.
I think
a
we need
lot.
an anthology series, and I think it needs to have Lady Gaga in it. And I think it's got to be. It's a horror. Like, so the Titanic. It's like the Titanic is sinking, but the Titanic is sinking because of a demon.
Oh,
You know, like it's somehow kind of like campy, like maybe a Pennywise moment.
Yeah.
I do like that.
Yeah.
I do like that.
And it's like it's Ryan Murphy, so like there's like a lot of like secretly gay men on the
Yeah.
Titanic who are in love. I think we need. I'm gonna brainstorming a cast right now. Throw in any suggestions.
okay.
John Travolta,
Okay. Yes.
off the top of my head.
Bruce
John,
Ismay.
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
John Travolta.
Billy Porter.
Yes, yes, I love that. Yes,
I feel like I know they're probably fighting, but I do want Kurt Hummel.
yeah, Glee
Um,
Hummel,
Chris,
please.
Glee Hummel. Chris, whatever.
He like
Chris
doesn't
Fulfer.
act anymore because he wrote like that 25 book children's series,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Oh, I had
just
no
insane.
idea. Is it good?
I don't
I
think,
don't
I don't
know.
know,
I don't
but
know
it's
what
like
to
it's
say.
like I mean the concept is, and I don't want to say it's bad because I want him to come on the podcast too. But it's about kids who go back in time to fairy tales. So like,
Oh, sweet. Okay.
It
Yeah,
sounds
like-
very cute.
Like Magic Treehouse kind of vibe.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
very
but there's like
Magic Treehouse.
literally 25 books in the series.
Which is crazy. But I guess
He
like
was like
this
writing
is,
the
like,
first book
pattern
while
relay.
on tour with Glee.
That's nuts.
It's
That's
just not
nuts.
okay.
Good for him though.
Yes.
I'd love to see like Liza Minnelli.
Oh,
Like in her
yes.
like probably what would be her final role.
Okay, because we're killing her afterwards.
On set.
No.
Yeah.
she's jumping into the
my
the
God.
bacteria pond, and her tendon is exploding.
That's not what I meant. Please.
Yeah, I like Liza Minnelli. I'm trying to think of who
Leslie
else.
Odom Jr.
Yeah, we'll get him in there as
Like
he'll
him
play.
in
He
there.
can play the captain.
Yeah.
Captain Smith.
Yeah, he should be Captain Smith. And then Lin-Manuel Miranda should be someone he kills.
He can be
Just,
the demon.
you know, for the Hamilton of it all.
Yeah, he should.
Lin-Manuel Miranda should be the demon with just his voice.
Yes, and I
I'm
want.
gonna sink the ship.
Oh, that's my
I'm gonna
impression.
get
of
his
Lin-Manuel.
mouth to King Scott.
I love him.
I do love the cadence he raps in. That is like
it's his
so
own.
no one ever
No.
no one's ever rapped in that cadence. I can't
Before or since.
yeah.
I also just like that in the interviews. He's just sort of like, yeah, this is inspired by like old school hip hop. It's like,
No,
What are you listening to?
it's like
Yeah.
this is like a lot of inspired by Tupac. It's like,
Yeah.
what part? What? What are you saying?
Yeah, because like you listen to like David Diggs and you're like, yes,
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
Yeah.
what rapping is.
Yeah.
He's also
Yeah.
a musician first, I
yes,
would say.
yes,
David Diggs.
of clipping.
Clipping. What a great
Great
musical
band.
Yeah.
group.
Experiment.
Experiment.
Yeah.
Experiment.
It's more of an experiment.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's an experimenting
yes.
sound.
Yeah.
definitely. I would also do, let's do an experimental rap album. It's a concept album about the Titanic.
That would be awesome. The ship itself has to rap.
Okay.
think-
Oh,
I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And it's the length of the Titanic sinking.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
really
Oh,
good
yeah,
idea.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I do like something being the length of the Titanic actually sinking because whenever I have a party at my house on the TV.
Brag.
Yeah, sorry. You guys have all been invited. I put on a real-time sinking of the Titanic on the TV,
Okay.
which is amazing because it's 2 hours and 40 minutes long. So if you put it on when people start arriving, by the time everyone's nice and drunk, shit's really going down.
That's fucked.
Which is
Do you know
it's a lot of
Sleep
fun.
No More?
I do know
It's
Sleep
like
No
an
More.
immersive film noir Macbeth in New York. I think we do a Sleep No More immersive Titanic.
That's
Oh
the
my
thing.
God. Yeah.
I was thinking
Because you can like follow
Yeah.
different characters, so I feel like you
Yeah.
kind of like can pick your character, and whoever you pick to follow, you get to figure out if you survive or not. Like it's
Yeah.
like maybe you're given like a card or something,
On a
and
cruise
you can't.
ship.
Yeah, it's like an envelope, and
Mhm.
at a certain point, like if it's 2 hours and 25 minutes, at like 25 minutes left, you open it up,
yeah.
and it's got like a green dot or a red dot, and you can figure out like statistically speaking what percentage of people like survive.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a woman, whatever, you can get on
Yeah.
the boats, and then otherwise it's like you get to figure out if you survive or not.
So at the Titanic exhibit, they do that.
Oh,
like
no
a really
way.
similar thing.
Okay.
Where you get a card and then at the end you can look at your name and see if you're on the list of survivors, which I always thought was really cool and really impactful. So I feel like building on that is like an immersive experience would be
Yes.
very cool.
Yes.
I like the immersive experience idea. I also, okay, so honestly, if I were to do, I think that like Titanic is incredible. I think
Yes.
that is like the perfect, did we go over what it is?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so like Titanic, I think that's incredible. I think it sounds amazing. However, I'm also a huge Celine Dion fan. I love her. She's
We love her.
National
Maybe-
treasure.
Yeah,
National
she's
treasure.
truly a national
Yeah, yeah.
treasure.
And I would love to see like a biopic about Celine Dion, but kind of centers around her creating My Heart Will Go On.
Yes.
Wow.
And like,
Okay.
and you know what
Okay.
I mean? And kind of use like archival footage, but it's sort of like about the making of the movie. Like it's very meta, where like it's about Celine Dion's life and her history and how it ties into like the Titanic.
That's fun. I like that.
Isn't that kind of
I like
fun?
that a lot. Yeah.
Also, because I just really want a Celine Dion biopic, so
I know.
I'm going in sideways.
We need one, but I think the problem with the Celine Dion biopic is you have to have her, like, be with her manager at like 16 and be
Yeah.
like, "This is love," because they're gonna be married. They're gonna stay married. So you either got to get on board with this now.
But that's what I'm saying, where it's just like if you do it at a time where her life is like she's kind of at the peak of her career,
Yeah.
then you don't necessarily
have
need
to think
do,
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, like you could tell it but just focus on her career and less her questionable love story.
Right. Okay. Tim, thank you so much for being on Truthtanic.
Thanks for having
On
me.
the note of that, is there anything you want to plug?
Follow me on social media, Tim Blair, and I make weekly sketches with my friends. Sidetrack show, check that out.
Great. We'll put it in the show
Epic.
notes and also in the description on the YouTube video.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on, and thank you for tuning in to yet another
Titanic. Honestly, may the odds be ever in your favor.
May the
truth be ever in your Titanic.
Bye. Love you, Rachel Zegler.